there, Dylan Brown, the writer and director of The Summer We Died, a new teen slasher horror flick from Horror Nerd Productions and Horror Dads Productions. This featurette aims to give you a little insight into what it takes to create a super low budget indie horror film. Thanks to a very dedicated cast of young people, I was able to pull off and fully realize a dream of mine, to create a slasher film with a unique twist. What we did with The Summer We Died was try to create a skate film from the 90s, blended with music videos from the days of MTV, punk rock music, and all of the fun tropes that every classic slasher has to have. With that being said, the final result was a bit different than what I initially set out to create. What I do think, though, is that the final result ended up even better than I could have imagined. Let's take a look at some of the effects that were used to create the deaths in The Summer We Died.
To all the young people listening, we urge you to abide by the curfew.
My ultimate goal was to try and create a slasher film with no CGI. When you're working with a budget as small as what we work with, if you don't have the right computer effects, it just looks really, really bad. But one of the great things about classic slashers, especially from the 80s and early 90s, is that practical effects were used aplenty, and even when they weren't entirely convincing, the audience still seemed to buy in. It's organic, it's in camera, it's there for the actors to use, and it just comes across so much grosser, so much gooier, and so much more fun to put on film. For the head stomping sequence of the film, we had a really, really hokey mannequin head. I had no idea how this thing was going to actually match Maxwell, our actress who is in the film, as the victim that gets the boot stomped right down through her face. But I thought if we can somewhat match it, even close enough in size, with enough creative cutting, we should be able to hide it.
Nope. I'm going to put in my own sound, so. All right, rolling. Here goes nothing. Whenever you're ready, Blake. Go ahead, just keep stomping. Oh my god. Stop. Holy shit.
And then we positioned the boot that was hanging over her face in the same position it was from the previous cut with the real actress underneath it. Upon action, we let Blake go to work, the boot came down, and we got an incredible brain spray. It was so good that we just let him keep going, and actually many of his stomps made it into the film, when initially it was supposed to just be a one and done. But we liked how it looked, it was so much more brutal, so I decided to allow a little more extra footage just for the sake of horror.
The law enforcement is doing everything in its power to bring this nightmare to an end. Until then, residents are advised to stay vigilant and report any suspicious activity immediately. As always, the mandated curfew is still firmly in effect.
I got to be in the film, which was a lot of fun, sort of a last-minute addition, but I got to play around with the blood cannon that our producer and special effects prop master, Dustin Tamplin, made. Basically, we took a tube and we ran it up my shirt, hid it behind my hand, and taped it to the back of my neck. Dustin loaded it up with our fake blood. We pressurized it, and then as soon as we were basically ready to go, he hit the release valve and blood all over. Ended up looking awesome. I got to get covered in fake blood, which was a first for me. I've been in, a couple of my films as a cameo, but never really got to get to play around with the gooey stuff. So it was really fun this time to be on that side of the camera.
Rolling. Action.
Did it look good?
It looked okay, yeah. I mean, it definitely hit the fence.
Okay, well, as long as you can see on camera.
Major spoiler alert. If you haven't seen the film, turn back now. This is literally your last chance. If you don't want spoilers, I'm telling you, turn it off now. So the big twist in the film is that neo-Nazis are basically who's being taken out. And the killer is not this bad, horrible serial killer that you're thinking. It's actually a group of young girls who are on a revenge spree taking out these white supremacists that had taken one of their friends' lives earlier that year. So Mike Rock, my frequent collaborator, producer, writer, director buddy, decided to step in and play my head Nazi. He shaved his full beard off. It was the first time I'd ever seen Mike without a beard, and it was pretty surreal to see him taking on the role of such a heinous, horrible person, because everybody knows Mike as the lovable character from the Tahoe Joe films and some of the other things that we've done. We had a really, really realistic head that came from Dapper Cadaver, and we basically got it into position, filled it with some of the gooey stuff.
Action.
We got the girls to sit over the head with the skateboard that was basically inserted into Mike's mouth. And I wanted to have this super metal, yeah, punk rock death for the final scene.
And this is the summer we died.
Open up, boy.
Good evening. In the wake of the tragic events of 5 young minorities who were killed recently in what police believe were hate crimes perpetrated by a neo-Nazi group, they now report that individuals linked to the neo-Nazi group have themselves been targeted and killed in what appears to be a series of revenge killings. Authorities urge the community
5 bodies. All of them found with their heads so severely disfigured.
And we called it the can opener. So Mandy brings her foot down, right into the skateboard truck. The skateboard goes right through Mike, and we have head split. It didn't look entirely convincing in the original raw footage, so I did some editing and kept it as minimal as possible to still know what happened and see the aftermath and not show too much. I think one of the main things that can sort of kill a horror film is showing too much. And when you're working on a really limited budget like we were, it was imperative that we only showed what we had to show so we could really, really trick the audience into thinking that we had more to play with than we really did. The Summer We Died is as punk rock a movie as I've ever made. It's handheld, it's low budget, it's raw, it's kick you in the teeth violence, and it's a lot of fun. I'll just say, the movie is a lot of fun. We injected as much life into it, loud music, colors, neon lights, all sorts of fun transitions throughout the film. And I just had a blast making essentially a feature-length music video, slasher film, and skater punk 90s film, all rolled into one. The Summer We Died is currently available on Amazon Prime for rent and purchase, and is also on physical media, Blu-ray, at the Horror Nerd Productions Big Cartel shop. I'll make sure I throw a link in the comments. Thank you all for watching, and I can't wait until you see what we have planned for next summer.